trying to tell other people, yeah, you really probably don't need to eat those plants. Like, and then now we were joking around at my house, and my mom will be holding a vegetable, and she'll say, "Oh, it's trying to kill me! It's trying to kill me!" And like, because I've made her listen to it. Like, I just walked through the house listening to Dr. Afey. Like,
Josh, how did you find carnivore?
well, I guess I should start at the beginning. Whenever I was growing up, like I was kind of a, a fat kid or kind of chubby kid, and I mean, we, ate quite a bit of carbs, growing up. And I mean, I'm not trying to blame that on anybody. It's just kind of part of the culture. Grew up, of course, in Kentucky, and you got soup beans and cornbread and all of those things, fried chicken. Like, I mean, it's a part of the culture in Kentucky, and it's whenever it's in your heritage like that, you just gotta do it. And then, of course, we have our own traditions and things like growing up. Like, we would go on Saturdays with Dad to the library, but after we went to the library, we'd go and get a Polar Pop, which was this soft drink like that, just this big, huge soft drink from the gas station. And we'd do that, and I mean, we were kids, we were growing up, and it's fun, and we would enjoy that, and uh, just throughout my young childhood years, I was just big, and that's what it was. And when I kind of got into middle school, I started focusing a whole lot on God, a lot more like in like late elementary school, early middle school, and whenever I started to do that, we like I was hearing a whole lot about prayer and fasting from a lot of sermons and things like that. So I started to do quite a bit of fasting, and I mean, the way that I was going about it might have been a whole lot for somebody that young. I just kind of went into it really hard. I was doing basically whenever I fasted, it was like doing one meal a day. Like, and I do that like 3 days a week. Um, and now I know that's not as bad as people made it out to be. They were like, "Man, you're starving yourself. You're going to get an eating disorder. You need to stop." And I, uh, I, I mean, eventually I gave in to everybody telling me, slow down on the fasting thing. And, but I mean, by that point, I was like thin as a rail, skinny, in middle school, and that continued through like high school. I was pretty skinny. Then I went to Bible college. Like the Lord made a way for me to go to Bible college, and I was grateful for that. Like just a genuine miracle that I got to go there. Because I mean, we grew up low income and didn't really have a whole lot of money. Um, and I mean, didn't have a whole lot of extra stuff for it. Like, I mean, we were provided for. Parents took care of us. They did a good job. Like, and grew up in church in a loving home. Um, but there were some wonderful people from around the state of Kentucky that they heard I wanted to go to Bible college, and they gave me enough money for my first semester, and I got to go. And naturally, in college, you put on the freshman 15, and then like like by the sophomore year, it's like the sophomore like 25, and you just kind of get more and more and more like fat, and I wound up not getting to complete Bible college for financial reasons, but I did get just a wonderful experience while I was there. Wound up coming home, and after a year of being home at my home church, I became the youth pastor of our church, and I still serve in that role. I did have like 1 year where I was only serving as the connections director, and then I returned to serving as our youth pastor. But uh, whenever uh, of course, in doing all of this, there's a lot inside of youth ministry culture where you provide snacks and you provide sweets and sugars and pizza and all of those kind of things. And like donuts were a big deal, like inside of the youth ministry. But even just to kind of let you know, kind of what kind of how bad that I let myself get, like like in different phases inside of my life. Like I had a friend in Bible college. We were really good friends. Still are good friends. But let's say like she knew that I liked Oreos. And so she started sending me every single kind of Oreo imaginable that I think was on the market almost like hardly at the time. I had a cabinet full of Oreos, like on the top part of that cabinet. Like they were up above the mugs. Like there's no room. Like and I ate a significant amount of those. Like myself, like I had some help, like from my family, but like I ate a significant amount of those. Like she just kept on sending Oreos, and eventually it's like that had to stop eventually. Like or would have died, but like and like that was a big deal. And then I was uh, like basically a Dr. Pepper-aholic, like love Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew, any kind of like Mountain Dew, like on my tier list it was Dr. Pepper, any kind of Mountain Dew, and then Coca-Cola, like on soft drinks, and I was drinking a lot of Dr. Pepper. Um, One thing I didn't mention was that whenever I returned from Bible college and like obviously I was working at some point in this, like I mean I had to work, and while I was at Bible college I had worked at Chick-fil-A for a little bit, and they have a lot of food that's full of carbs, and I was eating a lot of food that was full of carbs, and drinking the sweet tea and eating the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich while I was there. But then once I got home, I like had started working at McDonald's during the summer, initially thinking, oh, I'll get to go to back to Bible college, like in but I just wound up staying at McDonald's, like because I didn't get enough money, couldn't go back because things cost money, and then I went, uh, and still continued to work at McDonald's and still have been working at McDonald's, like while serving as a youth pastor because I don't get paid for what I do there. Um, and that's okay, like that's not what it's about. But I, continue to work at McDonald's for all of these years, been there since 2017. And naturally, I started eating like a gravy biscuit every single morning, basically for the majority of the time. That first year that I worked there, if I had breakfast or if I had my lunch break at breakfast time, I ate uh, biscuit and gravy. I was going and getting that like every single day, and then eventually, you get tired of biscuit and gravy, you mix it up. Like eventually, like I moved on and made my way over to the chicken McGriddle, like like a big piece of fried chicken in between, these handheld hotcakes, and like I mean that was my big thing in the breakfast like menu for a long time, and then eventually like yeah, I do sometimes take breaks at lunchtime depending on the way that things go during the day, and I get a Big Mac, and I eventually like through the process of time I got to where I would get a Big Mac, and I put barbecue sauce on the Big Mac. I know it sounds gross, but it tasted good at the time, and I was addicted to sugar, so it's just pouring sugar on top of carbs and all of this stuff, and I, looking back, that sounds crazy. And of course, you get the French fries because everybody gets the French fries, and I'm drinking my Dr. Pepper, and I do that, and then I go home, and then whenever I went home, I would eat. Uh, well, or actually, that's not the complete thing. Before I'd go home, I'd go either to the dollar store or I'd go to the gas station, and I would always get a snack at like either the dollar store or the gas station. And I'd have to get something like from like the dollar store or the gas station. It's just kind of a part of my routine. It's a part of my like ritual. And it didn't matter if I needed gas. I didn't need gas a lot of the time. Like I was just going because I wanted a Snickers bar or I wanted a Reese's cup or like I wanted a Dr. Pepper or I wanted a Mountain Dew. And it didn't matter that I just drank a Dr. Pepper and a Mountain Dew or sorry, a Dr. Pepper from McDonald's. Like I was going to go and I was going to get a Reese's cup like over there at the gas station. And I might get a couple of different kinds of candy if I couldn't decide on which one. And I mean, I just load up and I'd get that, and then I'd go home. I'd eat whatever that we had, and I'd probably eat a couple of plates of that. And of course, they're trying to, make balanced meals and things like that. And of course, the balanced meals have carbs and all of that, the vegetables and all the inflammatory things, all of the wonderful things in there. And then, that's not to say anything bad about the people preparing you. That's my family. Then they love me and cared for me and are nice enough to keep me around. But they obviously aren't coming from this kind of perspective of eating. But they, would prepare whatever they had, and then a lot of the time, before going to bed at night, uh, I would eat ice cream. And that is just that might not be every day, but a lot of days I'd want to eat ice cream, and I'd have to get me a big old bowl of ice cream. And we don't go halfway. If there's ice cream, we're going to fill that bowl up, and like at 3 scoops at least. Like I mean, if we're showing self-control, 2 scoops, but you gotta have and that's only if people are watching. That's if people are trying to tell you don't eat as much of that. That's whenever I wasn't the one who bought the ice cream, and then I had to listen. It's like, no, I like that's why I went and bought my own, because I'm gonna get the big one so that nobody has to be jealous whenever I get 4 scoops, and then I put a Reese's cup that I like another Reese's cup like on top of it, and like cover it up in some chocolate syrup or whatever else I could find, and uh, and eat that, and I do that, and then eventually, like through the process of time, uh, of course, I'm doing ministry, I'm doing all this stuff. I got a really good buddy that I worked with. He was one of the managers at work, and I just started hanging out with him a lot. I was teaching him a Bible study, and we go before we did Bible study. He just loved this place called Kodos. Like, and it's a and I mean I love those people, wonderful people, but it's a Japanese hibachi restaurant. Just really fun environment. But it's made me get significantly bigger because we were going like every week. And I mean, I spent a bunch of money I didn't really need to be spending because I mean, I worked at McDonald's, but I spent all this money and I got so big. And I would go, and this, my friend, like he really enjoys eating. And I would see how much he got. And then I was like, well, I'll get almost as much as what he gets because it's like I'm not going to be outdone by anybody. Like I was kind of proud of how much I ate. Like I grew up going to my granny Barb's house, and like if anybody had like if there was anything left on the table, they give it to me, and then they'd say that line, give it to Mikey. Mikey will eat it. Like about me, like and then like just give it to him. And I ate all of this food over there. Like, I mean, my granny Barb has some good home cooking. It's like she would make tater soup, some of the best tater soup anybody ever ate. She'd make good macaroni and cheese. It's just corn cut right off the cob, and like and froze, and then save it and all of that, and then like make it, and it tastes sweet, and it just be this really good flavor, all of that stuff, and have this good sweet tea, and I eat all of that, and then she had this dessert, and might have like all sorts of different dessert over there. Robert Redford cake was something that she made, like she named it after Robert Redford. Like I don't know if it's original to her, but I think it could be. Like it's absolutely an amazing dish. Like in terms of like the sugar addiction speaking there, like it was absolutely amazing. But I know that I got kind of proud going over there growing up and being able to out eat anybody. Like, and my friend, he's eating all of this. I'm going to eat. Like, and I could put away this big, huge plate of hibachi. Like, and I mean, I started to think, well, I probably shouldn't eat it all in one setting. So, I'd take the rest of it home, and then I'd eat like a bunch while I was there, and then I'd eat a bunch the next day after I had saved it. After when I taught the Bible study, and I was like, well, like what is the sacrifice for the kingdom here? Like we're like going and teaching a Bible study, go to get like kodos, like the money spent sacrifice for the kingdom, the calories gained sacrifice for the kingdom. It's like we go for it. Like I try to have a sanctified mind about it, but it really just was I was getting fat. And then like, we eventually, after all of that time, I did get that guy baptized. I did get him baptized, so something good came out of that. I was grateful for that. But and then glory to God for that. But he, eventually we stopped having Bible study, and I still continue on though with a lot of my bad eating habits, with the ice cream, with the eating the carbs, with the eating the snacks, with all of that, my sugar addiction just going and going and going. Eventually, I got up into the 300s, and like I was like at my heaviest, I got to 311 pounds. Um, like it, and in the process of getting up to the 300s, like I had a few warning signs of, oh, you might need to slow down, but I didn't really slow down for the warning signs. We had this nice pink recliner, and I liked sitting in the pink recliner, and I'd sit there, and I'd like to be able to just relax, and I'd rest in the pink recliner, and I'd fall asleep there. I'd sleep there sometimes most of the night, to like, just because I fell asleep there. I might even fall asleep with my ice cream bowl like right there, like just in the and eventually I got so big, this old recliner broke because of me. I broke the recliner, and then eventually, like I got so big, I broke the box springs to my bed, and and that didn't stop me. I just kept on going with my horrible ways of eating. And what kind of like, and I didn't mention this, but like, a few years before all of this, like back in 2018, I had went on a diet where I counted calories. I had counted those calories, and I tried to cut carbs some because I saw that seemed to work for some people. But I mean, I wasn't eliminating carbs at that time back in 2018. But I counted calories. I went on a calorie deficit, and I had lost 47 pounds. But I wound up, of course, going back into my unruly lifestyle of going into all of this wild eating and just letting myself go until I got into the 300s. And once I reached 311 pounds and I was size 50 pants, I decided I need like, well, oh, it's getting pretty close to time. I don't want to go any higher on pants. I don't have to buy another size higher. I don't know if I can find them at Walmart, and I don't want to have to special order online. And it was just a kind of a wake up call. But the thing that pushed me a little bit over the edge was I saw my pastor. My pastor was going on a diet. It's one of those fancy diets where you order a bunch of food, like, and it was costing him like $400 a month, and that's a lot of money. And he was losing weight though. He lost 50 pounds, and I was like, well, good for you, Pastor. Excited for you, all that. But he became essentially an ambassador for this way of dieting, and he got very, very, into it. And there was this health coach lady that was coaching him and then teaching him how to be like uh, an ambassador for this diet. And so he was having to find guinea pigs to talk to. So who else does he go to but the youth pastor? He's like, like I kind of need you to do this for me. Like let's have a conversation, like on the phone with this lady, so that she knows that I'm doing my job. And so like I go and I get on there, I listen to what she has to say, and but before that, I had somebody named Mitchell from work recommend the carnivore diet to me. And I had heard about the carnivore diet years before, like from like Jordan Peterson, Michaela Peterson, those kind of people, listen to a lot of that kind of stuff. And I just kind of heard it in passing. I thought it sounded kind of crazy, to be honest. I thought it sounded a little weird. And there was even a time that I thought, well, is this something that is even biblical to do, to just eat meat? Like, I mean, because like, didn't God give them vegetables in the beginning? Like, and I had to try and reconcile all that in my brain. It's like, well, they were given permission to eat meat in Genesis like 9 or 10 around there. Like, and so that would mean that even if you take a literal young Earth view, like I do of the Bible, you would go and be like, that still means they've been eating meat for thousands of years. Like, and even like young Earth people believe there was an ice age, like about 4,500 years ago. So that would still mean that there was an extreme lacking of vegetation, like for like a extended period of time. And so, like, that would still mean that our ancestors at some point needed meat. And so trying to reconcile all of that with all my theological perspectives and all of these things I'm hearing from like Dr. Chafee and Dr. Berry eventually, um, whenever I decide to do that. But before I ever listened to one of those guys, I just started because like I started on a Wednesday, March the 16th of 2023. Like I decided that I was going to start, and now I'm a little over 7 months in. Been like, but like I decided I was going to start, and I remember it was a Wednesday because that Thursday was that meeting that I was going to have with my pastor and this health coach lady over the phone. And I knew I wasn't going to go on no crazy expensive diet and have some lady harping down my neck. It was just not my deal. It was not the way that I wanted to feel, not the way that I wanted to be. I like to have some freedom. I like to have some flexibility. Eventually, it became too much for my pastor, like, and because he couldn't deal with having that health coach always on him and all of that. Eventually, not if she sees this, God bless you, but it was just too much. Um, I didn't and it cost too much. It's just way out of my price range. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So the Wednesday before, I bought meat. Like I just bought so much meat, and I bought like all of this. I don't even remember what all about, but I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I just know I don't want to go on that diet, and I know that I need to do something. I know I need to change, and I know that I am the kind of person because like of the way I've grown up. My pastor says to do it, I'm going to do it, but I know I ain't got no $400 a month. I know I ain't got that, and he was also the person who had influenced me, like back in 2018, to go on a diet, and I lost 47 pounds then and in some way he influenced me this time around to lose all this weight. Like even though he hasn't ever been a carnivore, um, indirectly he managed to motivate me to do something different because he's a very positive influence in my life. But then I go and I get kind of this determination. Well, I'm going to try carnivore. I'm going to do it for a month. I thought I'd do it for just a month, and then it worked. It worked so good, and I was like, at the end of the month, I just kept going. I was like, because I lost like 30 pounds in the first month, basically, like right around 30 pounds in the first month, and I was like, if this is working this good for me, I just need to keep going. Because I thought, maybe eventually I'll work my way into something like keto or something like that, kind of go back to something a little bit more normal, relatable, like with everybody. But I just kept on going and going and going. And, I had some cheat days. I've done cheat days. Like I've had things like family. get-togethers and stuff where I'd have some of the dessert and I'd have mostly meat, but I'd eat some dessert too, and then maybe I'd go a little overboard with that. I'd went to my mama's house here recently, and I'd ate too much like there. I really just went off plan that day. I was like, this is an intentional cheat meal, and then we're going right back to carnivore the next day. I've done some stuff like that, like, but for the most part, with the exception of cheat meals on some special occasions, um, I have been carnivore for the last little over 7 months. And I've included some seasonings. I still drink coffee. I had been doing dairy, but I've tried to cut that out here recently because, like, I just recently found out, oh, well, apparently some people have to cut out dairy in order to see improvements in their skin. And because I was like, well, carnivore is supposed to heal your skin. And I look at my skin, and it's like, still got all this going on. And it's like, well, oh, like I was reading the comment sections on a Dr. Perry video, and they're like, hey, we had to go like the next step further. Keto wasn't enough. We had to quit dairy, and it's like, oh, well, maybe there's something to that. So I'm doing an experiment right now, and we'll see. Uh, it's only been like a couple of weeks in, and I had really bad acne, and my mom has rosacea. I've never been diagnosed, but I basically look very similar on my face to what she looks like with her rosacea breakouts. So hopefully that will be the next step. And if I need to cut out some other things, then I'll find out. And it's a process of learning more about your body and all of that. But like so far, as of this morning, I've lost 107 pounds, which is absolutely insane. 107 pounds, a little over 7 months. It'll be 8 months on the 16th of this month. And I am beyond thrilled that I found this way of eating. And I didn't do any research up front. Like, I mean, I just kind of hopped in. I was kind of wild like that. I just was like, I don't want to go on no $400 a month diet. I need to do something different. I'm too big and I want my pants to fit. Uh, so I decided to do something. And I took the initiative. I bought the meat. I started the diet. And then eventually, then I started doing the research. And I started to look into it. I was like, finding people like Dr. Barry. I mean, just one of the first people that you see, Dr. Barry, and then to, like Dr. Chafee. At first, I was like, he says plants are trying to kill you. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm on that kind of energy. I'm like, I'm not sure that's how I feel like about everything. That seems a little extreme. And then I actually watched the video, and I was like, oh, so maybe he's not crazy. Like that actually makes a lot of sense. That there's plant toxins inside of there, and they're trying to, combat you so that you don't eat them. It makes a lot of sense. And then you're like trying to tell other people, yeah, you really probably don't need to eat those plants. Like, and then now we were joking around at my house, and my mom will be holding a vegetable, and she'll say, oh, it's trying to kill me. It's trying to kill me. And because I've made her listen to it. Like I've just walked through the house listening to Dr. Chafee, like plants are trying to kill you, like trying to make sure that everybody knows like the dangers. So I'm getting it into their heads, even though they don't believe me. Even though they've seen the results and they're proud of me. And my family's been very supportive of the weight loss. And they're like, man, I don't agree. I don't agree with your methodology. I don't agree with the way that you're going about this. You should eat a vegetable, but just very supportive of of the weight loss and proud of me as far as that goes. But like they're still like, when are you going to start eating real food? I'm like, I eat real food. Everybody else eats fake food. Like everybody else is eating the other stuff, and it's just not like something that I want to go back to. Like I don't think that I ever want, to be able to say my favorite cereal is Frosted Flakes again. Like I don't think that I ever want to be able to say that, oh, I like brown sugar and cinnamon Pop Tarts again. I don't think that I want to be able to just say that again. I don't want to be a sugar addict, like for the rest of my life. And I don't want, to whenever I finally get all the details of my life together, I don't want to go out and find a lady and then raise kids that turn out to be sugar addicts and diabetics. I don't think that that's a good move. I don't think that's
Mm.
what I want to do for society is just bring more chaos into it. I want to help more people see what we found that works for people and seems to be a whole lot more natural. I was talking to my pastor earlier, and like he's been doing some keto type stuff lately. Um, he had kind of completely fell off the diet wagon. He's been
So
and I
he gave away that special diet that he was on.
oh yeah. He's not on that no more. Yeah, he couldn't stay with it. He couldn't stay with it. It was too much. Like uh he couldn't deal with the constant I shouldn't say it, but nagging of the health coach and all of that. Like, and if she's watching, God bless you. We love you. We hope you get saved, come to church or whatever. I don't know if she knows the Lord, but all of those things. Like, uh, I just uh, know that at the end of the day, it didn't like it didn't work out for him. That I'm glad. I'm glad that now he's kind of leaning more toward keto type stuff, and he had started keto and then he had stopped keto, and he started keto back. He's kind of went through that yo-yo dieting thing throughout the years. No offense, Pastor, if you watch this, God bless you, I love you. But I mean, that's the thing is he's kind of had those ups and downs, and dieting like has been kind of just something that it's not necessarily always a lifestyle change for him. It's more of like a we're just let's try this out. And I appreciate him, like, and his family are very busy people, very wonderful people, pour into so many wonderful people, like, and put up with a whole lot, and have been very gracious to me through the years. So, like, I am not trying to say anything negative, but that's just true. He's just kind of had those cycles. But like now, he he even like because he had been on keto before, like years ago, had like he wound up early on in my carnivore journey sending me that documentary called Fat, like where it talks about basically a pro keto type of thing. Uh, I mean, they advocate for eating vegetables like and stuff in there, and I'm obviously like not for eating an excessive amount of vegetables. It's like if you want to have some seasonings, like I'm not going to throw a fit because I've been doing some of that, like and I eat right now, just to kind of give you a perspective of like, well, I still work for McDonald's and I lost 107 pounds working for McDonald's, which eating McDonald's still, but I found out how to eat McDonald's carnivore style and uh, not be so bad off, like and not be gaining weight, instead be losing weight. And like I mean, before whenever I had lost like the 47 pounds, I was basically eating something that was like ketogenic or carnivore for the most part, except I was also having like a little fruit parfait back whenever we had those. Now we ain't even got those little fruit parfaits at our location. Some other places might still have them, but they've got rid of them at ours. But like we had those, and I'd eat those then. But now like what I've been doing is I get like a sausage egg muffin with no muffin, and I had been doing the cheese, and I'd add like another extra piece of sausage, and I'd get some bacon, and we're ready to go. Like just load that up and eat that, and that's normally what I eat if I get lunch at breakfast time at McDonald's, and then like if I get lunch at lunchtime, I'll get a piece of quarter meat and some bacon, and that'll be my lunch. And then get home. A lot of the time, early on, I do like steak and shrimp. That was a big staple. Lately, I've been doing steak and eggs because I got tired of shrimp. It's just a lot of shrimp, but I still like shrimp. Like I'm not like so tired of them. I don't do them ever. It's like I'll still do them, but it's not every single time, and it's not something that I'm like, well, I gotta have the shrimp. And I was thinking, well, this is a normal side to have with steak, So I was having steak and shrimp and steak and shrimp and steak and shrimp. like a lot of the time. But I was also uh, doing burger meat too, and I still do burger meat. And I've got a bunch of burger meat in my freezer. It's not my primary thing. I like to be able to go and get a ribeye, and I'll go to Save a Lot to get my ribeyes. And I know somebody's probably got their grass-fed, grass-finished Panda Massage fists ready to come and fight me because I just advocated for buying from Save a Lot. But I'm like, if all you can do is buy from the Save a Lot, go for it. Like, because like it's worked like and it actually worked. Now if you can get the super expensive stuff and you got the money, go for it, treat yourself on that ritzy steak. But I'm like, I'm going there, and I can, if you season that up right, like, and I mean, it's going to taste the same. And eventually, I've worked my way from to basically not doing all of the seasonings on my steaks. Like I used to do salt, pepper, garlic powder. I was watching Google Foods. I was trying to figure out how to make it good. I never really cooked that much before. I could barely make I mean, I could make a grilled cheese. Could make some macaroni and cheese out of a box. I could, heat up a Pop Tart in a toaster, like, microwave some noodles or something. But I wasn't no cook. And now I can make a pretty mean medium rare steak in a cast iron skillet and make some really good shrimp, in like a non-stick pan. And I've been using butter to cook, and now I've been trying to use beef tallow for the past couple weeks because I'm trying to figure out the skin thing. I'm like, I don't want to do, any dairy. Don't want to risk it. I'm just trying to figure out how to get that under control. So I'm like, well, let's load up on beef fat. And now I've got like this big container of Wagyu beef fat that I'm getting ready to get into. And I've got like this other smaller jar that I bought first, like kind of dipping my toe into the waters of cooking with that. And I'm like that beef tallow and I've started using Redmond salt basically exclusively on for my seasoning. And I don't really put anything else on my stuff unless I just get a hankering for some Creole. And I know it's full of inflammatory things and it's horrible, but sometimes you do something and you misbehave, and it's not the worst thing that I could do. It's better than ice cream, like some Creole on my chicken, like on my baked chicken in the oven. It's not fried, no bread, all still safe, but not as safe. Um, and I mean, some people they probably couldn't handle that at all and probably have a horrible reaction. And honestly, I probably shouldn't do that, but I still do that some. But I've mostly just been using Redmond salt on my steak. Um, and I do sometimes, like I said, eat chicken. Um, and I like to like whenever I make chicken, uh, I mean, I have found out that losing weight can be so fun. It is so fun, like to be a carnivore and lose weight, because I found out that bacon is a weight loss food. And used to, like there's this comedy group that that I watch. They have like a sketch about like this guy who went on a bacon cleanse, and all he ate was bacon, and he got so big and fat. And I'm like, man, if all I ate was bacon, I'd probably, yeah, might not be the most balanced nutritional thing, but like if I did that for like a week, it probably wouldn't actually kill me. Like it's just not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. It's actually like a nutritious meat, like, which is wonderful to find out that bacon is weight loss food. And so I get my chicken, season it with whatever I'm going to season it with, and then put bacon strips over top of it. And so you got the bacon fat coming down inside of your already pretty fatty chicken thighs, and you get all the fat. And that's like Dr. Berry says, you eat fat to lose fat. And I'm like, man, sakes alive, we've hit the jackpot. We found the best diet in the world. Like we could just eat bacon wrapped chicken and and call it diet food. And I've
Right.
never would have thought that. It's just
Yeah.
absolutely insane. Like that's even an option. But it's just kind of give you an idea of like some of the things that I eat. Um, and if I go out to eat with anybody else, if I go to a Wendy's, I get some patties and some bacon, or like or I might be like, hey, can you just give me like a baconator, no bun? Like, because I mean, I had been eating the cheese and I like no bun, no sauce, just keep all that. All I need is the meat and the cheese and the bacon's what I had been doing. Um, and it's kind of expensive to do it that way. I'd much rather eat at home. And I know people can do like the a la carte thing, but it's just as somebody who's worked in fast food, I'm like thinking of what's the easiest way for this person to ring this up. So I'm just like, well, we'll just do it this way, even though it costs me more money. And and you know, if you need to do it a la carte, go for it. Like I mean, like they can press the buttons, they can do it if they need to. But it's it's just something like in my brain. I'm like, it's the easiest way to ring this up, easiest way to just say it to the person so that they can get it. Um, and I sometimes, you know, go a place and there'll be steak, and it's frustrating now because I know if I go to a place and like let's say like I'm going out with people to like a Mexican restaurant. Like, and they're not, you know, known for their steaks. That's not what they're known for. They're like their chips, their salsa, all of these things. And you know, I've cheated a little bit, like in sometimes, you know, with some chips or salsa. And I don't recommend that, and I don't do that all the time. But I have done that. But I like would get a steak, you know, and I sometimes will get a steak from like a Mexican restaurant, and you know, I love those people, wonderful people, but I absolutely can cook a better steak. Like at this point. And it makes you just kind of like, why do I need to spend $16 plus tip on a meal that I could have cooked better at my house? Like and do better. So it makes you not really want to go out to eat as much. So I there's not really that temptation to just go out as much. I mean, if I'm invited to go somewhere, even here recently, there've been a couple of times after, you know, some big church functions. Like, I don't like to eat after 8 o'clock because I'm like, well, if I don't eat after 8 o'clock, and then a lot of the time I don't eat breakfast. Um, and I've worked my way to that. Sometimes I do eat breakfast, but like not all the time. It just kind of depends on if I wake up in the morning, I'm hungry, and if I have enough time to eat. Um, and if I'm not hungry, or I don't have enough time to eat, I just don't eat breakfast, and that's okay. You know, I'm a carnivore and I can do it. And like I know that whenever I do eat, I'm going to eat good, and I'm going to eat a lot, and I'm going to eat until I'm full, and that's going to be fine, and I'm going to still be dropping weight, and, and it's like a miracle. Like then and it, I mean, growing like have grown up like in Pentecostal circles. We talk about people getting out of wheelchairs, all this kind of stuff, and we, you know, we see some of that stuff. But with carnivore, people are getting out of wheelchairs not because somebody laid hands on them or anything like that, or had a powerful church service experience and that stuff happens, but they get out of wheelchairs because they just changed their diet. They just ate different. Like they're able to go from not being able to get out of their bed to being able to take a few steps, to being able to walk, to being able to run, to being able to sprint, to to being able to maybe go back to work. And and these people were living in horrible conditions, and now they're able to do all of those things. And like now, like, you know, not now for me, like I don't have to worry if I can fit my seatbelt on whenever I get into somebody's car, like, or if I get into my own vehicle, like, and like I don't have to worry. Like, am I finally at that point that I can't buckle the buckle, like, because it was getting close. It was getting pretty bad, and and now it's more of, oh, when am I going to be down that next pant size? You know, like I'm getting close, or when am I finally going to get to my big goal? Because like my big goal has been to get to 200 pounds, and I was at 204 this morning. I'm 4 pounds away from my big goal.
Uh,
Like,
so actually on that point,
mhm.
let me say congratulations on the weight loss so far. That's amazing. But I wanted to ask, when was the last time you were at this weight?
Oh, at this weight, oh my goodness, that is a really difficult question because I know it's probably back in 2018. Um, so that's been years because I had gotten up to 247 pounds, and then I lost that 47 pounds, got down to 200 pounds, and then I regained like all that weight and then more whenever I quit. And that's the reason why I'm like, I don't want to quit doing carnivore ever. Like, and I mean, if like I drifted into like Paul Saladino land, I wouldn't be the most upset at myself. But I'm also like, I don't know. Like he hasn't convinced me about the fruit thing. I'm like, sugar is sugar is sugar is sugar. I've heard too much. And I've kind of come too far. I'm like, I don't really know if I want it. Uh, like it's like why do I need to eat a piece of fruit if I can get all of my nutrition from meat? Like I mean, why would I want to? Um, but that's neither here nor there. But it's probably back in 2018. Like
Wow.
I.
That's yeah, to think that getting the weight on, it's gradual, right? But it's just
Mhm,
this consistent kind of, you don't feel it coming on because, the eating the food is effortless.
mhm,
But to see it go off so quickly is amazing, right?
mhm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's miraculous, is what it seems like, and not to in any way be sacrilegious. I'm just like, man, it really works. It really works, and I'm like, my gosh, like I would not have ever imagined that eating meat and eggs, and I had been doing cheese, but like meat, eggs, and cheese, I didn't think that would essentially take me from being extremely morbidly obese, like to being at a much healthier state. I know that like as far as like a BMI thing, like I'm not where it says I need to be, but I don't really think that's the biggest deal. My next goal is to get to 180 because I'm like, man, if I can get there, I'd be within a healthy BMI, even though like I've never cared about BMI. I think that is crazy. My thing is I want to be able to tell somebody I got to a healthy BMI eating the carnivore diet. I want to be able to say that eventually. Like, and I want to be able to look at them and tell them I've disobeyed all of those rules. Like, and I broke them all, and it worked. And
No.
because you watch those documentaries, like that documentary Fat, like about like keto and all of that stuff, and then you hear about the food pyramid and how big a scam it was, and you're like, yeah, we knew the government was full of malarkey, but we didn't know how bad. Like I mean, you just look at what happened with that, and you're like, my goodness. Like they just let like that one guy's study just kind of ruin the lives of thousands of people, like thousands and thousands of people. Like, and you're like, how did we let ourselves get to the point where we're just okay with that? To where it's like, what we're going to do? We're just going to let everybody die of diabetes and cancer because we don't want to say that one guy was wrong all of those years and years ago now. Uh, and I can and say, our food pyramid failed and all. And I mean, they don't want to do that because they know that they get a bunch of lawsuits and they lose a bunch of money, and or they'd have a big fight on their hands and it just wouldn't look good.
I think
But
I think that's the complication though. It's like
mhm,
it's not only that they don't want to say that they were wrong or that that one guy was wrong or they relied on bad information or they propagated bad information. It's also now that there are multiple massive industries making a lot of money built on that, right?
mhm. And I
Mm.
mean, that's the thing, is it's like the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. And what's motivating all this? Like the government, they love the money. The pharmaceutical industry, they love the money. Like I mean, the big food, like the big pharma, everybody, they love the money. Uh, and and they're all in bed together, just having this horrible, horrible situation just unfold in front of our eyes, and we're sitting there eating and eating and eating ourselves to death, not even knowing that there's a problem whenever we go. and we get our Taco Bell and we get our Baja Blast and all of that. I mean,
So, sorry to
yeah.
interrupt.
Oh
Speaking
yeah.
of big pharma, like at any
Mhm.
stage were you on medications, and have you been able to come off any of those?
I have actually not taken any prescription drugs or anything. Like I don't make a habit of regularly going to a doctor. Um, and part of that right now is that I don't have health insurance. I did have health insurance before, and I probably should have went whenever I had health insurance. And now I'm kind of glad that in some ways that I didn't because they might have gave me bad advice and I might have listened to it. But uh, like I never really uh, cared much for going to the doctor. My dad doesn't care much for going to the doctor, and I don't make a habit of going. Um, but I did think, and my sister thought that like I was looking a whole lot like I might be getting close to being pre-diabetic because I mean I was 311 pounds. I had all this face breakout stuff, and she was worried about that. And obviously my face hasn't completely resolved, so now I'm starting to think that it could be caused by some sort of other issue, like maybe something to do with rosacea, or it could even be something hereditary. I don't know. We're trying to resolve that, figure that out, like through changing my diet some more. Um, but I haven't taken any meds or anything, and like I know no prescription drugs, no anything like that, and so nothing there to resolve. But I do feel good, and I feel overwhelmingly better than whenever I was 311 pounds, and I can fit in clothes I couldn't fit in before, and I went from being a size 50 pants to being able to wear a size 40 pants, and and that's in the last like little over 7 months, and I am getting so close to being able to wear 38s again. That is going to be one of the best things to just be able to tell somebody that I went from the 50s to the 30s, hopefully like within the span of this year. Like and I think I'm on the verge. And I mean I'm almost to that big goal too. Like I'm at 204 and I need to get to the 200 mark to hit that big goal that I had set from the beginning and then just keep on going. Um, and then once I reach 180, I want to just maintain and I want to focus on building muscle mass. I've never been a very uh, muscular person. I have been finally going to the gym, but for the first good chunk of this time of doing carnivore, didn't have a gym membership, didn't go to a gym. I wouldn't have thought about going to a gym if I hadn't lost so much weight, like already with carnivore. And then my little brother started going to a gym because he got into boxing, and I mean he's kind of stopped being as into it, but he really was getting into watching all this stuff about boxing and all this stuff. He's like, hey, I'm getting some boxing gloves and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to hit the bag. And he was hitting the bag and doing all of this stuff. And I've tried to influence him some about diet. There was one time that he was like, kind of in like this low spot, and he's like, I think I'm going to do carnivore. And I was like, well, you got to buy some meat, man. And I took him to the store. He bought some meat, and then he ate like one steak, and then he never like. And I was like, well, I'm sticking this in the freezer, and we're saving it. Eventually, gave me the meat because he didn't eat it. I said, hopefully, eventually, he'll come around, like, because I think it'd be good for him. And he had taken some steps to try and lose weight and lost some weight. Like I think he maybe lost maybe like, oh gosh, I don't want to get the number wrong, but maybe like 50 pounds or something. Like just kind of doing his own thing. And he had done uh, oh gosh, I'm not exactly sure, like because he wasn't very open about what his process was, but he just kind of did his own thing. And then has kind of just been eating whatever lately, like like. But that's not to say anything bad, but hopefully I'll get him to come around eventually to this. Like, pressure him a little. But I oh gosh, I've lost my train of
So,
thought. I've lost my train of
so,
thought.
so, if I could just jump in and ask a
Hmm.
follow-up question to this.
Hmm.
So, your mum's kind of running around, saying the zucchini or whatever's going to kill her. But like, what kind of feedback have you had from family, friends, people at church, people at work? When I mean, 100 and what is it, 107 pounds is bit of it's quite transformative. So, what
Hmm.
kind of feedback are you getting from people?
Well, I mean, I've had people even in the drive-through at work, like come through and they'll be like, "You have lost a lot of weight." And I was like, "Yeah, I've been doing the carnivore diet." And and I was like, "Just eating meat, eggs, and cheese." Like, and they're like, "Meat, eggs, and cheese?" And I've had some people whenever I say the carnivore diet, they think I've said the carnival diet, and they're like, "The carnival diet?" Like, and I'm like, "No, the carnivore, like like you eat meat." Like, there's this one elderly gentleman that comes in that I just absolutely love this guy, and he's an older Jehovah Witness man, and I'm from like a Pentecostal perspective, and like I'm like, man, we've both been called so many names, like I've been called like all sorts of things. I'm just like and he tells good jokes. Like I like this guy, so like he comes in and gets a cup of coffee, and like I was talking to him the other day. He's like, man, you're gonna have to write down like that diet for me, like, cause I mean, like, and I was like, yeah, like, you just need to look up Ken Berry. You need to look him up, and I've had a lot of people like be like, man, you have really lost a lot of weight. I saw your before and after pictures. You have lost a lot of weight, and there was quite a few at work that have talked to me about it. And there was one girl at work. She was trying to get her husband to do it, and like he wasn't quite ready for all that yet. I talked to him about it, tried to get him convinced, but he wasn't quite ready. Maybe he'll come around. But there there have been quite a few people on Facebook and stuff because I've had a pretty good rallying of support on Facebook. I've been posting about my updates on there, and I mean I've got people that I'm friends with from Bible college, people that I'm friends with, uh, all across the country because of that, and they have been super supportive. And then like people within our church organization, the United Pentecostal Church, like and like they have been like a lot of them very super supportive, being like, man, you're doing a great job, how are you doing this, like and then I'm like, man, it's the carnivore diet, like just trying to help people see it. And then like I'm like, hey, if you want some more information, just let me know. And then I'll send them a video of like Dr. Barry talking about getting started. And like and as far as like home, like and with my family and all of that, they've been overwhelmingly supportive of the weight loss. Still try to pressure me to eat vegetables. I did have the other day one of my friends at a youth rally. Is like one of my best friends. I was in his wedding. He looked at me and he said, "Bro, you need to eat a vegetable." And I whispered to him, "Vegetables are for fat people." Like, and I was joking, but like it. And I just laughed, and he probably thinks I'm crazy, but he already knew that. He's been my friend too many years. Like to not think that I was a little wild already. Like, cause I've got that kind of personality where if I do something, I go all in, and I'm 110%. Like, I'm Pentecostal at church. I'm the guy in the front that does the dancing and the shouting and the moving around and all that kind of stuff. If you've ever been in that kind of environment, like, and if you haven't, then like that's a warning that that might happen if you ever do. But I usually always like whenever I bring people to church and invite them, I'm like, so like I try and emotionally prepare them because I don't want them to think that anything's wrong if somebody starts screaming in another language and running in a circle. I'm like, like we just it's a part of the service. Don't worry about it. Like sister such and such feels Jesus, but but I uh go like 110%. And I'm also used to holding minority positions and having a lot of pushback and learning how to defend those kind of things. Because I mean, not only are we Pentecostal, but we're oneness Pentecostal. So like the majority of Christian churches look at us as like false, like just because I mean, we hold a different view of the Godhead and baptism, and so they're like, yeah, like, these guys they're terrible. And so I'm used to holding, a minority position with that, having to defend that inside of a very Christian Bible Belt. And then, and I love, all the wonderful people from different perspectives and different persuasions. Love them. God's blessings on them. like, but we just hold, to a different perspective. Um, and then I've had to learn how to defend that through the years, especially growing up, being very involved in church and like middle school, high school, those kind of things. So it's not that hard for me to deal with the things where people are pushing back. And even like earlier, like I said, like believing in a young earth, I'm like, and I know not everybody believes that, and I like that view obviously is unique to to like certain people. It's not something that everybody's looking at and saying, yes, this is 110% the way that things are. But holding that kind of a perspective and then being like able to look at that and then learn good arguments for that. Um, and I know some people will be like, hey, well, this guy's got to be a science denier, 110%. Don't listen to anything that he says. It's like, no, I mean, the Earth is round. I just think that it's young. All right, I mean, I'm not way, way out of the park here. Don't worry, don't worry. But I I understand, like gravity exists, and I'm not looking for Martians. Things are okay. But I like to look at where the evidence leads, and for me, like I feel like the evidence has led me to my various different things, like whether it be through, things like the experiences that I have in church and the Holy Spirit, and then also reading the Word of God and the Bible, or if it's something like studying and going and looking and being like, well, this Dr. Barry and Dr. Chafee and all of these guys, and they're talking about all of this, and it's working not just for me, but for thousands of other people. And whenever I'm like, well, I'm having a hard time this week, but then I can open up something, and then I see something from, somebody like, oh gosh, like I think that there's that guy, the intentional carnivore. Like I like to listen to him too. And then I'm trying to think of
Sean.
people's names like off the top of my head right here, but there's this guy, the homesick Buckeye, and I got to tell you this while I'm thinking about it, but I have an idea for you, like that I think that you would love if you could do this, like at some point, like of having the guy like Russ Mitchell from the Homesick Buckeye. He's got those carnivore slash keto preaching videos. If you had your vegan character come to carnivore church by accident, thinks it's a vegan church, and then comes in, and then like is just absolutely destroyed whenever they find out like Dr. Chafee or like Russ or whoever is preaching that day, and they just like leave screaming. Like I just inside my mind I'm like, this would be the most fun. So just giving you an idea. You don't have to do it, but I think it would be like a creative genius move, like, and you wouldn't have to give me credit, just you could run with it, like, but I think that it would be amazing.
Sounds like a
You
cool
look like you were
idea.
getting ready to say something. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, now that we're talking kind of about channels and such, um, do you have a channel where people can reach out to you?
My YouTube channel is just called Joshua Pearson. Um, so I mean, like it's kind of small. I do have some stuff on there about my carnivore journey. Some like I have like a playlist about my carnivore journey, and then I also have some playlists with Bible lessons and things like that because I youth pastor focus on that. But then I also have been really getting into all this carnivore stuff. So I'm like, man, I want more and more people to be able to hear about this. So if somebody does want to connect on there, absolutely. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions, help anybody to understand more about this. Because I mean, I'm still learning, but I'm excited. Like, 7 months in, and I don't want to stop. I really just want people to have their lives better, and that's what it's all about. Is you want people to have their lives better. You don't want them to have crummy lives. And one thing that makes me upset is that I didn't find out about this sooner, because like my papa, uh, like he died because of statin drugs. Like he died because of statin drugs. Like he had a bad reaction. Like his muscles started deteriorating. Like that's a cholesterol medicine, and if cholesterol is bad, then Yeah, like, they thought they were doing something, but cholesterol is not bad. Like, at least not, in the way that we th thought. And if it's not as bad as we thought, then it makes no sense that my papa had to die from statin drugs, like deteriorating his muscles to the point that eventually he couldn't swallow. And because he couldn't swallow, like, he starved to death because he didn't want to do a feeding tube. Like, and and it like statin drugs. Like, if somebody tries to tell you to take a statin, you should tell them, I'm going to go eat steak and I'm not going to ever touch one of those things like in my life. Like, I'm not a doctor. This is medical advice, like, like we always say. But at the end of the day, I'll just tell you, you don't need to ever touch that. Don't need to think about that. Like, because somebody in my own family died, like, because of that. And then also he had diabetes too. He could have, he could have had that reversed if I had found out about this sooner. But nobody told him, and he died. So,
Yeah,
yeah, like, but now we have an opportunity to help other people to find this, so they don't have to die and they can have good health.
exactly. Well, Josh, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey with us. Thank you so much.
Hey, well, thank you, Dave. This is like really a privilege. I appreciate you so much, and you have a blessed rest of your day, man. Like, thank you so much.